I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. Off from my city, off from my home. We're flying up, no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop. And under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, 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 come on. Ooh, it's something magical. It's in the air, it's in my blood, it's rushing on. I don't need no reason, don't need control. I fly so high, no ceiling when I'm in my zone. Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop, stop, stop. Under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. I can't stop the feeling, yeah. So keep dancing. Oh, yeah, yeah. I can't stop the. 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 Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. Ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. Everybody say. Feeling. Got this feeling in my body. Ooh. it's too near. You could be my love. Even if we're 6 feet underground, I know that we'll be safe and sound. We're safe and sound. I could lift you up. I could show you what you wanna see and take you where you wanna be. You could be my luck. Even if the sky is falling down, I know that we'll be safe and sound. I can lift you up. I can show you what you wanna see and take you where you wanna be. You could be my love. Even if the sky is falling down, I know that we'll be safe and sound. We're 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 safe and sound. Turn it up. Somebody save your soul, cause you've been sinning in the city. I know too many troubles, all these lovers got you losing control. You like a drug to me, a luxury, my sugar and gold. I want the good life every good night, you're a hot one to hold. Cause you don't even know. I can make your hands clap. Said I can make your hands clap. Somebody save your soul, cause you've been sinning in the city. I know too many troubles, all these lovers got you losing control. You like a drug to me, a luxury, my sugar and gold. I want your sex and your affection when they're holding you close. Cause you don't even know. I can make your hands clap. Said I can make your hands clap. Every night when the stars come out, am I the only living soul around? Need to believe you could hold me down, cause I'm in need of something good right now. We could be screaming till the sun comes out, and when we wake we'd be the only sound. Get on my knees and say your friend James Brown. That I can make your hands clap. That I can make your hands clap. That I can make your hands clap. My flesh is searching for your wisdom, just don't ever deny. I'm like a stranger, give me danger, all you're wrong and you're right. Secrets on my way to the freeway, you're a keeper of crabs. Still no conviction, grips of vodka can only sweeten your wine. But you don't even know. I can make your hands clap. Said I can make your hands clap. Every night when the stars come out, am I the only living soul around? Need to believe you could hold me down, cause I'm in need of something good right now. We could be screaming till the sun comes out, and when we wake we'd be the only sound. Get on my knees and say your friend James Brown. That I can make your hands clap. That I can make your hands clap. tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. I feel it. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. I feel it. Woo-hoo. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. I feel it. Woo-hoo. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. Tonight's the night. Let's live it up. I got my money. Let's spend it up. Go out and smash it. Like, oh my God. Jump out that sofa. Let's kick it off. I know that we'll have a ball if we get down and go out and just lose it all. I feel stressed.
Well, good evening, everybody. And tonight is going to be a good night. I'm Robin Reed alongside my friend Gene Jadhan, and we're going to join you for the Roanoke Heart Ball on a cold and icy evening across most of Virginia. And we hope that tonight in our Zoom meeting, we find you warm, we find you safe, and we find you in a good mood to support the American Heart Association. You know, our first choice would have been to all of us be together. I mean, Gene and I dressed up for the event. We might as well have gone, but as it turns out, we can't do that this time. But we're committed. We are a relentless force, and we are committed to continuing the work of the American Heart Association. Just thrilled to be with you this evening. Hi, Gene.
Hi there, Robin. You're looking awesome tonight. I love the tux. I'm glad to see that we're dressed up. You know, I've got a little dressy dress on and something to dress up for, right? Something to dress up for.
Exactly.
Listen, we want to thank all of you for your flexibility. We know it's been a crazy year, to say the least. Who would have thought a year ago we were with 500 people at the Hotel Roanoke? But if this is the way we have to make this happen virtually, we are going to do it. And we thank all of you for your flexibility. Now, a couple things to go over before we really dive into this program tonight. Remember to utilize the chat at the bottom of your screen to take part in the interactive portion of the program, because we want you to be a part of this. So be sure to select all panelists and attendees from the drop-down menu before you start typing. That way everyone can see your responses. Also, to donate throughout the evening, text ROA Heart Ball and your gift amount to 41444. And so that's up on your screen. That's the way to donate. And then look out for the thermometer. You're going to see this throughout the evening. Our goal tonight, $50,000. Let's make that mercury and that virtual thermometer rise and rise quickly today. Also, make sure your phone is charged up, because you're going to want to be prepared to bid on those amazing auction items. How about a chauffeured ride in that Rolls Royce over to the Hotel Roanoke for dinner, a trip to Fiji perhaps, and all the other amazing items on the auction? There is a link to the site in the chat. And Robin, you will not regret it. Some amazing auction items this year.
Exactly. And it's so easy to do, Gene. Everybody knows how to use their phone. Everybody knows how to text. Everybody knows how to get on the chat bar here on the Zoom call. And if you don't, grab one of your kids and bring them over and they'll show you exactly where to click on that. Tonight, we celebrate the medical miracles made possible by thousands of champions. That includes physicians, researchers, and community leaders. The American Heart Association has many life-saving research advancements, but it has never done this alone. Now more than ever, we need to come together. But social distancing is the style. Remember to post any photos of you guys tonight using our hashtag Roanoke Heart Ball. Put the little hashtag in there, Roanoke Heart Ball, and you'll be ready to go. The work of the American Heart Association is made possible by you, our committed and passionate supporters and sponsors.
Oh, I hope everyone took the opportunity to dress up tonight. Robin, like I said, it's great to see you in the tux this evening with the red tie. And, I put on a little cocktail dress myself.
Yeah,
I won't tell you whether I'm wearing fuzzy slippers or not with it, but on a nicey night, why not, right? Tonight is one of the only times that we can actually ask you this question. What are you wearing? We want to know. So as Robin said, take a family selfie, use the hashtag Roanoke Heartball for our social media wall. And we want to thank Delta Dental for sponsoring this fun way so we can see what all of you are wearing at home.
I can assure you that while I'm dressed for the most part, those shoes that I only wear once or twice a year are not on tonight. In fact, it's just a pair of Crocs, but that's okay. Very, very comfortable because we have a comfortable evening for everybody tonight to enjoy. Many thanks to our executive leadership team. This is the group that really puts in a lot of work. You know a lot of these people. You're co-workers with them. You have been around town with them. You've probably served on a committee or two with them over the course of the years. But these are the guys and gals that make up the executive leadership team. And now I'd like to introduce this year's co-chairs of the Roanoke Heart Ball, Phil Anderson and Joe Hoff. Let's give them and the co-chairs kind of a virtual round of applause for leading the Heart Ball fundraising efforts this year.
Good evening and welcome to the Heart of Roanoke Digital Heart Ball Experience. I want to thank you for taking the time to join us this evening. Each year, the Heart Association gathers to celebrate its many accomplishments and to reflect on the lives that have been saved and improved as a result of the research and the committed efforts of the American Heart Association and its many volunteers. Tonight's event would not have been possible without the hard work and generosity of our honorary chairs and our vice chairs who've given so generously of their time and resources to make tonight a true celebration. So please join me in thanking our honorary chairs and our vice chairs. Virtually everyone's life has been touched to some extent by heart disease and stroke. For me, it was my father who survived 2 open heart procedures to repair diseased heart valves before being claimed by congestive heart failure when other health complications prevented him from benefiting from the latest cardiovascular innovations. But heart disease and stroke is not reserved for the elderly and the infirm, a harsh reality that I learned about 2 years ago when my dear friend and partner, Walter Peake, age 60, a picture of health and vitality, was claimed by cardiovascular event. It was those experiences that inspired me to become more involved in the work of the American Heart Association. Tonight's goal is $150,000, and the need has never been greater. When we gathered a year ago, none of us could have imagined how our lives were about to change. And in those past 12 months, almost half of the people who have been hospitalized as a result of COVID-19 and the coronavirus have also suffered cardiovascular complications. And in that same time, the American Heart Association has donated over $10 million in the state of Virginia alone to fund research, 25% of it, which was designed to study the impact and the interaction between COVID-19 and cardiovascular disease. So while the pandemic has sidelined many of our traditional activities, the need for research and dollars to fund research has never been greater and continues to grow exponentially. Thanks to the hard work of our honorary chairs and our vice chairs and our executive leadership team, we've almost reached our goal, but we're not quite there. And tonight you have the opportunity to be part of life-saving and changing efforts in the American Heart Association. So later this evening, when the time comes, you will be invited to join in making a contribution. And when you do, I hope you will reflect on how your dollars can make a difference in the lives of so many. So thank you for being here tonight. Enjoy this evening.
This evening gives us the opportunity to celebrate the individuals whose lives were claimed by heart disease and stroke. Through my work in senior living, I have met several individuals who have been affected directly and indirectly by heart disease. We must keep fighting for these survivors and their families. I have a colleague, Ben Higgins, who I have worked with for several years. He is a young, active father and husband. He has a successful career, working very hard, especially this year, to protect the elderly. He also suffers from a heart condition that requires necessary life-dependent surgeries. We fight for people like Ben so he can continue to serve his community and also have a long and healthy life with his family. The Roanoke Heart Ball has raised millions of dollars for research and education initiatives. It has changed the lives of countless families in Western Virginia. With your support tonight and in the future, we can do so much more. I now want to acknowledge all our support of our benefactor sponsors, Frith Anderson and Peak, Howes Motor Freight, Branch Builds, Robbins and Morton, Advanced Auto, Carillion Clinic, Delta Dental, First Piedmont Davenport Energies, Friendship Retirement Community, South Roanoke Nursing Home, Truist Financial, Barney Enterprises, and Alan and Susan Wirt. Thank you to every one of our sponsors and supporters this evening. We really appreciate that you realize that we need your help now more than ever.
Thank you so much, Joe and Phil. Phil hit the nail on the head. The need's greater than ever. It just is. With this pandemic, so many new things relating to cardiovascular disease need to be researched. And Joe, what a great point. Every single one of us out there today knows someone who has been helped by the research the American Heart Association has done. Many of us have lost loved ones or have had loved ones' lives extended and saved because of the work of the American Heart Association. So thank you so much, Phil and Joe. We're so grateful for all the work you've both done this year. Now let's take another look at that thermometer. Let's see if it's going up. $100,000 was raised before today, and tonight's goal is to raise that additional $50,000 to bring us right up to that goal. Already $3,253. Thank you, everyone who has donated. I really want to reflect on what you're a part of tonight. Together, we're giving the gift of time, the time that people can laugh together, love together, live together, and discover new things in life and make a difference. Just so needed. Oh my goodness. Look, Robin, it has jumped now to $8,253 just in a short amount of time. So thank you to all of you at home and for all you are doing to open your hearts tonight. Now let's watch a heartfelt video from one of our survivors. You might remember Danny Williams. Some of you might remember him from his story a couple of years ago. Tonight, let's check in and see how he's doing.
So Daniel and I, we met in junior high. We went to Woodrow Wilson and Patrick Henry High School and graduated. We didn't really meet until the summer of '83, which is we graduated in '82 from Patrick Henry. So we were married in 1986 and have two wonderful children and have just really been very blessed with family and friends and our church and all.
Okay, in the fall of 2013, our lives changed forever. About that time, my brother Kyle, he was in the state archery tournament. He went down with the team earlier that day, and my father and I, who went to work that morning, were coming up later, about an hour out from Richmond, where the tournament was being held. He pulled over and told me that he needed me to drive. He's taken us all up and down the East Coast and has never, ever said anything like that to me. That's when I knew something was really wrong.
Well, I finally went to the emergency room, and they're saying, you're having a heart attack, so that's a shocker. So they put me back to work, so I go back to work, and then my family doctor said, well, something's going on with your heart, so he asked for an echo to be done, so that's when they found out that I had heart failure. Waited here a week before they put the LVAD in, and went in the dead of winter and come out in the spring, and so glad to see something growing and beautiful.
Well, certainly the left ventricular assist devices have been a game changer. Before, all we had to offer patients was transplantation. So these devices, which the AHA has been instrumental in developing, allow the patient to have a normal cardiac output, which supports their end organ function, such that they remain alive and well until a heart transplant becomes available.
I'm so grateful he's still here.
I'm looking forward to going and fishing with him. I remember back when I was a kid, we competed in this tournament called the Fishers of Men tournament, and every year we did that until I was about 11. He loved it. I remember back then I didn't really like fishing. I thought it was boring. I was into video games and stuff, but once he gets his heart, I'll start fishing with him again.
I think it's important for people to support the American Heart Association, because just like me, I thought it never could happen to me. On Mother's Day, I had a stroke in my mother's house. That afternoon, they put me in the hospital because they knew I had a blood clot somewhere from the LVAD. Then I had to wait a couple weeks to get the transplant.
It was life-saving. So Daniel got down for a transplant July 2nd to wait for a heart, and he ended up being there until July 24th. We were very fortunate that a heart became available. Something we didn't realize was the heart in the box, which is the ability to harvest a heart warm. It was a lottery system. So once our insurance approved that, one of the coordinators came into our room and said, well, now we have to put your date of birth and your name into a system, and you have a third chance of being accepted. Oh, I'm going to cry. So with a donation after circulatory death, which is the heart in the box, that you have a third of a chance of your name being called and 2/3 of a chance that it's not going to be. So she left the room and she said, I'll be gone about 5 minutes. She walked in the room and she was crying. And we're like, oh no, we didn't get it. And fortunately, she was crying because she was so happy for us that he was accepted for that type of heart, because they knew that if he had to wait on the standard type of heart transplant, he physically wasn't going to make it. God had such a hand in this. We had family and church and all of our co-workers just praying and lifting him up, and it was really a true miracle. Then afterwards, he was up and going. As soon, I think the second day, they got him up in the ICU to walk, and he told them, I'm not going to do that. And they said, yes, you are. And he ended up doing 120 some steps, and they were amazed at that. What do you remember doing?
Just walking around with the IV and on my little tower and passing all the nurses. They were supposed to walk with me, but I was doing so many laps that they refused to walk with me because they had other patients to take care of.
He's had 10 heart biopsies since July 12th, and they keep commenting how beautiful his heart is. And what's really neat is that the doctors tell us, they don't tell all patients that, he really has a beautiful heart. We have been shared that we have a heart from a 28-year-old male, and that's all we know at this point. And after a year, if the family wants to connect with us, then we'll make that connection, and we're praying that they do.
Life has changed for me in a lot of ways. I look for my LVAD little bag that I used to carry around with me. Every day at 5 o'clock, I'm reaching where I used to have to change my batteries. Yeah, it's hard to get used to adrenaline now. For 6 years, I didn't have any adrenaline at all, and getting those feelings back is pretty tough. I'm not used to jumping out of my skin anymore, but I am now getting used to it.
Yep.
Heart Association is important to me because twice in my life, cutting edge technology has saved my life. First with the LVAD. When I received the LVAD, I was one of 18,000 at that time. Now I'm sure it's close to 1 million or more. And with the heart in the box technology, it's going to save thousands, maybe millions of more transplant lives with this technology where you can harvest and go up to 1,500 miles on transport. That's going to save so many lives. It helped me. It could help your life. It could help your family's life. It could help your children's life. Just please give.
Thank you for all that you've done for our family.
Thank you.
Wow. Okay, Mrs. Williams, you almost made me cry there. When you started to get choked up, I started to get choked up. What a story you two have to tell of what you've overcome. And thanks to all of the work done by the American Heart Association. And I particularly loved it when he said, I'm not walking 127 steps. And she's like, yes, you are. Yes, you are. But I hope you have many, many more fishing trips and family times together. You know what? This shows more than ever how much your money and your donations are needed. Any amount you can donate is going to help that thermometer go up. So now is the time. Let's cure heart disease. Let's give more families like the Williams more days together. Let's do it. Let's go for 100% giving in this room, in your rooms. I know you're all in your living room. Some of you are in PJs, from what I understand. A little birdie told me. But let's donate. Let's give tonight to support the life-saving mission of the AHA at this most critical time. You can do so very easily. Click on the link in the comments section. It will take you to a page where you can make an impact in less than 1 minute. Or if you prefer to give with your phone, simply text ROA Heartball to 41444, and then you'll immediately receive a response that'll have a link where you can quickly and easily complete your gift.
And Gene, I did that just a second ago because I wanted truth in performance. As soon as I hit go, right away the link came up, so you can be sure that you can jump right on that link from that point on and take care of whatever donation you feel like giving this evening. And Gene, I was really touched by Danny's story, and you and I have seen his story over the years. This is not the first time we've seen him, and seeing him in that tuxedo about 2/3 of the way through that video was pretty impressive too. Sharp looking character there. Although his wife stole the show, there's no doubt about that. Gene and I attend a lot of fundraisers over the years in the community. It's always important to see how your donations can really make a difference. The American Heart Association's 2024 impact goal is that every person deserves the opportunity for a full, healthy life. We should work really hard toward that, I think. By 2024, the American Heart Association will advance cardiovascular health for all, including identifying and removing barriers to healthcare access and equality. Now, it does take a little bit of money to pull that off, so let's talk about some of the choices that you have available to you. For $5,000, you can become part of our celebrated Cor Vitae Society. Now, Cor Vitae is Latin for the heart of life, and it's the American Heart Association's annual giving society. It was created in 2012. Get this now. It celebrates individual donors making annual cumulative gifts of $5,000. Just think about how far that could go. And as I glance over at the thermometer here, look at this, Gene. We're up past $12,000 already. All you and I are
Yes.
doing is just sitting here having a great time in our soft shoes, and people are, oh, 17,000. Look at that. What a big
Oh,
jump right there. Now, speaking of money, should you feel the ability to comfortably give $2,500, that would help purchase 4 CPR in schools. These are training kits which are designed to train thousands of students and faculty in this life-saving skill within a school setting. And Jean and I talked about this earlier. We both had CPR training. It has to be renewed periodically. And every now and then they change something, improve a little something. So make sure you stay current with your CPR training, won't you? Let's see, 17,469. Shane Blanchard, one of our donors tonight. Lindsay Williams is on board with a donation, and so is Tom Brock. Poe and Kronk, of course, always stepping up to the front of the plate,
yeah.
and Ryan Anderson, along with Sarah Plymail, also on board and making that thermometer jump a little bit higher. Now, if you have the ability to give $1,000, what would that do? Well, that would reach 500 women with our Go Red for Women movement by providing a red dress pin, a cholesterol, blood pressure, and weight tracker. Gene, I can't believe I just said weight tracker, but you know, it's pretty important to do that sort of thing.
Yes.
So that donation will get you that tool. So who will be giving $1,000 this evening? I hope somebody will. And boy, that thermometer keeps changing. I just saw it was above 8,000. So we thank everybody for that. Should you have $500, you would teach more than 1,200 Roanoke children how to avoid obesity and live longer, stronger lives through our nutrition and exercise materials for kids. That is always a great idea and would be a great donation, and $250. What does that do? That will train 5 people in our community to perform CPR and use an AED defibrillator if someone has an emergency. And you would feel confident because you've had that training and you would jump right in and do the right thing for someone who is suffering. Gene, I know you're watching these numbers as fast as I am. 22,708 as the contributions continue to come in this evening. And we're only 25 minutes into our Zoom ball, and look at what's happening. The numbers continue to rise.
I know. It is so exciting to see that mercury rising in that virtual thermometer, $22,708. Way to go, everybody. Just amazing to see those numbers going up and all of those names. It takes a community to make this happen. So thank you for being part of that community. This is exciting. We want to acknowledge all the people that have helped to make this happen. The generous support of these companies who have sponsored this evening, and they are many. Let's take a look at these sponsors. They include Frith Anderson and Peak, our Frontline Healthcare Awards sponsor. Howell Motor Freight, CPR in Schools sponsor. Branch Builds Robbins and Morton, our Healthy Recipe sponsor. Advance Auto, our entertainment sponsor. Carillion Clinic, our valet sponsor. Delta Dental, our social media wall sponsor. First Piedmont, Davenport Energies. Friendship Retirement Community, our Facebook Frame sponsor. South Roanoke Nursing Home, our kids activity sponsor. Truist Financial, our auction sponsor. Varney Incorporated, our mocktail sponsor. Susan and Alan Wirt. Thank you to all of our sponsors and supporters this evening. Your help is needed now more than ever. Also, a special thank you to all of those who gave in honor of Walt Peak. You see the names there: Frith Anderson and Peak, Susan and Ellen Wirt, South Roanoke Nursing Home, First Piedmont Davenport Energy, Glenn Robinson, Kathy Memmer and Staff PLC, Vistar Eye Center, Frith and Ellerman, Campbell and Lineberry, Poe and Kronk, and Sean C. Workowski, along with WDBJ7 and the Z, WZBJ24, your media sponsor. We want to thank these sponsors and supporters this evening. So hats off to all of those wonderful companies and people behind them making this happen tonight.
Exactly. And those were our 2 favorite TV channels right there, weren't they?
That's right. That's right.
All right, Gene. Well, the true heroes that we all need to support us are our frontline workers. We had a chance to catch up with Olivia Balzano. She's a nurse from Carillion Clinic who's been working on the front line since the start of the pandemic. This is really going to be interesting. Watch this. It's a look behind the scenes.
My name is Olivia Balzano. I am a registered nurse. I work on 8 Mountain ICU, that's the COVID ICU, and I have been at Carilion for a year now. My experience has been not really what I ever expected in nursing. Coming into it, we were, not expecting to be starting out in the middle of a pandemic, but it has been a learning experience for sure. I've grown just in nursing and in critical care experience, and then as well as learning all the ins and outs of this pandemic. It's been challenging. It's been emotionally and physically exhausting, but very, very rewarding. We've learned a lot about the virus, and we've learned a lot about taking care of patients and families in a new way. I have had mixed emotions by the ends of my shifts. Sometimes we make it through a night without any problems, and that's a huge success for us. Other nights have been, harder. I would say the support of my staff is crucial in getting through a hard shift. We laugh together, we cry together, we experience those hard nights together. We really put our heart and souls into our patients. We're very close to them and their family members. So any, thing that gets better in their care, anything that gets worse, we feel that as well. Pre-existing conditions play a big role in really any critical condition, but especially with COVID. So heart and lung problems such as hyperlipidemia, hypertension, high cholesterol. And this time we really make it a point to tell our patients it's important to take your medications and prevent those things from getting worse so that COVID can't really play on those. Same thing with lung disease, obstructive sleep apnea, things like that. Wearing your CPAP, wearing your oxygen appropriately are all very important. But taking care of yourself and taking your medications and taking care of your body the way that you should is a big part in preventing COVID from getting worse. I would want to tell the public to bear with us. We do everything that we can for the patients. Like I said, we feel everything that happens to our patients, and I know it can be hard not being able to come in and see your loved ones, but also, the basics: wash your hands, wear a mask, 6 feet apart. I mean, those things are crucial in the spread and not overwhelming the hospitals and us so that we can take better care of our patients. It's about protecting not only your loved ones, but everyone else's as well.
Olivia, thank you very much for that behind the scenes story. I imagine those of you that are with us on our special ball tonight might have a family member that is a healthcare worker. You might have friends, neighbors that are doing the same, and perhaps you've heard some of the stories of the stresses that they're going through and the fact that the information is somewhat conflicting sometimes about what's happening out there. And, we just have to be very mindful that we're all in this together. I am more than blessed and grateful to share with you that I got my second COVID vaccine today down at the Berglund Center. And just to see the behind the scenes worker there, hundreds of them, and you can tell a lot of them are, staff members of Carilion clinics, and they're there with a big smile on their face and just so supportive of what's going on. And when you go into a clinic like that, you just feel like, something really special is starting to happen. So as the vaccine becomes more widely available in just the next couple of months, boy, if you have an opportunity to take advantage, I'll bet Olivia would say, please do that if you can. We thank all of the doctors and the nurses that go in every day to make sure we stay healthy. Let's make sure we support them too. Now we have a very special portion of our evening. We're presenting an award to a frontline healthcare professional who has stood in the line of fire for all of us during this pandemic. We've been receiving tons of nominations from members in the community for the Walter H. Peake III Frontline Healthcare Hero Award. We would like to give recognition to all the nominees. Just the fact that people spotted you and nominated you is very important. Your work has definitely not gone unnoticed. We admire all of your selfless acts at this time. And we appreciate you, and we want to thank you for everything that you do. It is now our honor to present this award to Dr. Anthony Bafobani. Dr. Bafobani is a physician and a medical director at Carillion's Infection Control and Prevention Team. He led Carillion's fight against this unprecedented pandemic and has become a trusted voice of reason about the virus in Virginia. He instills the ability to work effectively despite ambiguity. He collaborates with cross-disciplinary teams. He supports his colleagues and counsels the community. Congratulations to Dr. Bafobani. This is well-deserved.
Yes, congratulations. And a huge thank you to all of the healthcare workers out there who are joining us tonight for all the work that you do. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Michael Friedlander, Executive Director of the Friedlander Biomedical Research Institute at Virginia Tech Carilion. You probably know that smiling face there. Also the Vice President for Health Sciences and Technology at Virginia Tech, doing amazing work. He is going to talk about his firsthand accounts of how your donor dollars are utilized here in Virginia.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Friedlander. I'm the Executive Director of the Friedlander Biomedical Research Institute at VTC. I'm also the Vice President for Health Sciences and Technology at Virginia Tech. It's a great pleasure to be here this evening with everyone at the annual ball of the American Heart Association. I've had the great privilege of attending this event in person several times with many colleagues and friends. Also, one year when Sandra and I were here, I had the privilege of being honored by this association. I can't tell you what a meaningful and important event this is, and it is truly my pleasure to be part of it in some small way. I wanted to make sure to remind everybody of the importance of contributing and giving to support research into heart disease. Now more than ever, in addition to all the things we knew about before, we have this pandemic that settled upon the entire world, putting people who have heart disease at even greater risk for the effects of the COVID-19 infection. In addition, we now know that the pandemic viral infection can lead to damage of the heart as well. And we have investigators here at the Friedlander Biomedical Research Institute working on that very problem. In fact, research is the key. It's the key to the future for understanding the current effects of heart disease during development throughout life and aging, and also dealing with the unexpected, like this pandemic. We have to be prepared, and the way we're prepared is by providing the necessary support and funding for all of the people doing research in that area, including the many great investigators we have right here at the Friedlander Biomedical Research Institute, as well as the up-and-coming trainees and students who will be the leaders of tomorrow in this important area. I'm now going to go back to my office and lab and get the chance to tell you a little more about the exciting heart research going on right here at the Friedlander Biomedical Research Institute. Hello again. I look forward to the opportunity now to tell you a little bit about the heart research going on here at the Friedlander Biomedical Research Institute that has benefited so mightily from support from the American Heart Association and from the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute as well at NIH. So this first slide shows a little bit about what the issues are. And I think on the left, these are statistics many of you have heard before. I won't belabor them, but I think it's important to realize that heart disease is still the #1 cause of mortality in the United States and worldwide. Over 100 million adults in the United States currently have some form of cardiovascular disease. And you can see the number of new heart attacks every year, over 800,000, and strokes, over 700,000. An enormous cost and impact of this beyond the toll it takes on individuals and families, but in terms of economic toll, over $300 billion per year. And then, of course, on top of that, we're dealing with the pandemic and this new emerging concern and realization of viral-induced heart disease and the risk that many of us with cardiovascular disease are at with exposure to COVID-19. So these are all clearly major issues that need to be addressed and very important for all of us. And then on the right side here shows that this research ties in many ways to the increasing epidemic of obesity that ties into cardiovascular disease as well, something affecting more and more children as well as adults. So these are important issues of the day and areas that we here at the Fralin Biomedical Research Institute right here in Roanoke are addressing with some of the world's leading talent focusing on helping in these areas. So just as a reminder for those of you who haven't seen, this is where the research here in Roanoke goes on. On the left part of the figure here, you can see the campus, the health science campus. This is the first phase of the Fralin Biomedical Research Institute. And the second phase is this new building that's lit up in the center here. You see many of the other buildings around in the health science campus and some of the areas that have grown up around it. And then over on the right is highlighted the newest research building of the Fralin Biomedical Research Institute. And I want to emphasize that an entire floor of this building, this is a 140,000 square foot building, an entire floor of this 4-floor building is dedicated to cardiovascular research and metabolism and obesity research. And this is just a picture within one of the wings on that floor of where the cardiovascular research goes on at Fralin Biomedical Research Institute. You can see all these lab bays that are open. They're not fully occupied yet because we're still in the process of recruiting more teams into the area. But this is a phenomenal facility, really making this an epicenter for heart research here in Roanoke, Virginia. And within that area is some of the absolute leading edge technology for cardiac imaging. Some of those are shown here in examples. This is a CT scanner. This is what's known as a high field, very powerful MRI for working in the lab with lab animals such as mice. This is something called a micro CT PET or positron emission tomography system for measuring metabolism and tracking molecules that go into the heart. And then some of the other systems here, this is a scanning block-faced electron microscope that allows us to look very deeply into tissue, whether it be a heart or other tissue, and see how cells are aligned and interact with each other. So within the Fralin Biomedical Research Institute, we have dedicated enormous resources to cardiovascular research. And these are the folks that lead the effort. We have a Center for Heart and Reparative Medicine Research, often referred to by the acronym CHARMR, and it is led by our own Dr. Rob Gordy, who you heard from last year at this gala event. And Dr. Gordy has a number of other team leader members, Dr. Steve Polzing, Dr. John Chappell, Dr. Jamie Smith, and most recently, Dr. Scott Johnstone, shown in blue here. And notice I have 4 of the people in blue and red boxes, and I assure you that has nothing to do with politics. The color coding I'm using is simply to say the 2 folks in the blue are our newest members, Dr. Johnstone, shown here, who came this past summer and joined the group, and Dr. Warren, our newest member of all, who will be coming this summer, who works on mitochondrial therapies for heart failure as well. And then finally, shown in the red boxes here, are 2 people that we're currently recruiting. In fact, Dr. Sassi is here right now, and Dr. Flager was here just a few days ago. And as you can see, this group of research leaders in cardiovascular science come from literally all over the world. Dr. Gordy started out in New Zealand and trained in London. Dr. Polzing was at Case Western University. Dr. Chappell, UNC Chapel Hill. Dr. Warren at the University of Utah right now. Dr. Smith came from Dublin and then by way of San Francisco. Dr. Johnstone came from Glasgow initially and then the University of Virginia. Dr. Sassi trained at the Pierre and Marie Curie Institute, then in Munich, and most recently now is at Mount Sinai in New York. And finally, Dr. Flager trained at SUNY Upstate Rutgers and now is at Temple University. Each one of these people is leading a research team addressing some of the most important issues in cardiovascular health and disease. And this little table here shows where the support comes from. So on the top, I've listed the support and the awards from the American Heart Association that has been won by the researchers here at the Fralin Biomedical Research Institute. And you can just see in summary, I've listed the number of awards that are currently active from AHA, that's 3. We have 5 that we've had in the past, so for a total of 8, and then 2 coming along with the new faculty. So a total of 10 awards from the American Heart Association. And you can see the value of these awards too. The 3 active ones, over $500,000, those that we've had before, over $2 million, and so forth. And then on top of that, one of the major institutes at NIH, known as the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, funds a lot of the research that goes on here. You can see we have 10 of those awards currently active. We've had 8 in the past and 2 coming in with the new faculty. In the center lists the different types of awards they are. and then the value here. And you can see these awards from NIH total over $20 million together. So oftentimes the funding that we get, particularly for new projects, for our junior investigators and trainees from the American Heart Association, launches these people onto the next level of research where they're able to successfully compete for major multi-million-dollar awards from NIH to carry that research program forward. And some of the examples of what that money is used for in terms of hiring the people and funding the programs are shown in the next few slides. This is Dr. Gordy, and Dr. Gordy this past year launched a startup that is using nano capsules derived from milk to deliver drugs to treat heart attack. And actually, Dr. Gordy, in initial trials in the lab, has shown that he can deliver these therapeutic compounds in these small exosome delivery systems that get right to the site of the heart attack and limit the damage severely that would occur in the time immediately following the ischemic event in the heart. Another great example of where that funding contributes to leading edge research is shown here. This is the lab led by Dr. Steve Polzing, and these are some of his students here. Sharon George, Ryan King, and Greg Hecker have all been involved with developing this. On the bottom, you see an electrocardiogram strip, and you show, in this case, a situation where the heart's electrical activity goes from otherwise a normal rhythm to a very abnormal rhythm, where in the ventricles you're getting a lot of fast beats, and then eventually this heart stops beating. This is done in the lab, in this case with an animal model. What Dr. Polzing and his colleagues have determined is in the field, you can actually deliver compounds through intravenous solutions that change the balance slightly of the salts, the sodium, the calcium, the potassium, the chloride, the various salts that are in a solution known as a Ringer solution that goes through an IV. And by doing that in people that are being resuscitated, you can lead to a more effective mechanical resuscitation of the heart, such that it starts actually beating more normally after electroconversion, after sudden cardiac death, preventing that from actually becoming death. So this work that's very basic in the lab is now going out into the community, initially funded by AHA and now by the NIH. Another example of the kind of work that goes on here at the Institute is shown here in the work done from Dr. Jamie Smith's lab. And many of you had the opportunity to hear Dr. Smith this week. And this is Dr. Smith working with one of the students in the lab. And they've been working on how virus can be used to get into the heart and to interfere with, or actually help in some cases, repair damage to the heart. So we generally think of viruses as being bad things. So of course, SARS-CoV-2 or COVID-19 is a virus that makes people sick and can actually damage the heart. But in other cases, they can find they can use certain viruses to deliver compounds to the heart in a therapeutic way. So we're very fortunate because we have Dr. Jamie Smith here, who trained initially in molecular virology and then went on to train after that in cardiovascular research. So Dr. Smith and his colleagues pulled together the information from biology with their studies of the heart in coming up with new ways to help repair the damaged heart or prevent heart damage itself. And one of the very important areas of cardiovascular research going on here at the Institute relates to the blood vessels, or the different compartments in the body where things move across the blood vessels. So one of those very important structures in the body is something known as the blood-brain barrier. This is where cells come together and form truly a barrier to keep most of the things circulating in our blood from leaking through into the brain. The area around the brain is a very protected space. And so Dr. Roble and her team have begun to understand in great detail how this barrier is formed and what sort of things can disrupt it and affect the transmission of various substances from the circulation into the brain. And this is very important for understanding diseases like stroke, and also for therapeutic delivery of substances across the blood-brain barrier into the brain when it's needed, such as might be the case for treating a cancer in the brain. And then we have a major focus on children. And normally we wouldn't think about children when we think about cardiovascular disease. So for example, stroke. Most people think of stroke as a disease of adults or of the elderly. And indeed, many of stroke cases do occur in the elderly. However, there's also a number of cases of stroke that occur in children. And these can occur in utero before the baby is born, soon after parturition, or a bit later postnatally. So we are very fortunate in having two of the world's leaders, Dr. Sharon Ramey and Dr. Stephanie DeLuca here, who run our FBRI Neuromotor Research Clinic, where they develop rehabilitation strategies for pediatric stroke. Often this pediatric stroke will lead to cerebral palsy in the child, where the brain is affected by lack of oxygen due to the stroke. And Dr. Ramey and Dr. DeLuca have received major awards from the NIH to develop Roanoke as the center for new innovative treatments for rehabilitating the damaged brain of children after they've experienced the stroke. One of the key aspects of the support from the American Heart Association here is the support for our new up-and-coming researchers, the trainees. These are folks who are either working as graduate students in one of our PhD programs or working as postdoctoral fellows, often in the labs of the various leaders I just showed you. The American Heart Association is extremely good at supporting these really terrific up-and-coming future leaders in cardiovascular research. And we've been very fortunate to have a number of them here win AHA awards. This is one example of Dr. Laura Beth Payne, who received an AHA postdoctoral fellowship. And that has allowed her to explore the molecular signals and the cells involved with regulating blood flow in cardiovascular disease. Another example is one of our students here. And so this is one of our students, Rachel Paget. She has worked in the lab of Dr. Jamie Smith, and she was receiving recently an NIH award, a fellowship, where she can study the role of viruses in sudden cardiac death. And once again, between these two funding mechanisms, going to a private foundation like the AHA and going to the federal government like the NIH, our students and postdoctoral fellows are able to compete on the national stage and draw support here that allows not only our senior investigators to have more productive research by having these wonderful, bright young people in the lab, but also to facilitate the careers of these people who themselves will go on to become independent researchers in the future. I hope this gave you just a little view of the kind and the quality of research going on here in Roanoke at the Friedlander Biomedical Research Institute as relates to cardiovascular disease. The AHA is an incredibly important component of this overall enterprise. Thank you to each one of you who supports this wonderful organization.
Well, it is so exciting to see Dr. Friedlander's presentation there for a lot of reasons. One, when you are in a Zoom classroom like we are right now, and you get to see behind the scenes of all the amazing things that are going on that you might not normally know, and then you come to tonight's Heart Ball and you get to see all the exciting things that are going on. You may not know that Jean Jadhan and I are both teaching at Virginia Tech in the School of Communications. And I know that when we finally get back to the campus, we can once again be reunited with all of these amazing researchers and all these amazing things that they're doing. And Jean, as you know, that costs some money. So that's why we're working so hard tonight to make sure that they can get their amazing work done. So this is an unusual Heart Ball, but Jean and I have been spending a lot of time in our Zoom classrooms recently.
Yes.
And we're trying to get things done, and we hope that you are going to contribute tonight and help us out in a big way. Since last year's Heart Ball efforts, the American Heart Association has funded over $10 million in Virginia towards research. Now, a quarter of that, 25%, was used to fast-track scientific research to better understand the interaction of COVID-19 with heart disease and stroke. What a timely topic, and how quickly they were able to get that money to the right cause. Your contributions have helped ensure the continuation of this vital cardiovascular research, supporting frontline healthcare workers, and it helped those in our communities who are disproportionately impacted by the coronavirus, by heart disease and stroke. So we thank you for that very important effort. Texting is easy, 41444. In the text, say ROA Heart Ball. And if you do that, right away, you'll be given a link. I've just checked out this, as I told you a little while ago, and happy to report that there are a number of ways that you can contribute. PayPal is in there. Your credit card information can also be pushed in there. But Jean, there was nothing to it. So I thought maybe we could take a peek at what the numbers
I
look like.
know.
Let's see if we've
I'm
gotten
curious to
anywhere.
see how we're doing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Kind of hoping that.
yay.
Hey, there it is. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, while I love that number, I think we can do better than that now. Time is starting to get a little bit short. So what I'm thinking, Gene, is while we're looking at some great food presentation coming up, maybe people will take a moment and punch that button for us.
I think so too. I'm happy to see, hey, oh, it just jumped again. I was going to say we just went over the halfway point and it jumped one more time. So thank you to all of those out there, all of you who are donating tonight. Your support is going to go a long way toward making our community a healthier and a happier place to live. So I have a question for all of you tonight. What are you having to eat? What are you gnashing on at home? Are you having something heart healthy? Are you having appetizers around the Zoom computer virtual heart ball? What are you having? Share us your photos. We'd love to see what you're making. Hashtag Roanoke Heart Ball. And maybe even share a recipe if you want. But we'd love to see what you're having if you took a picture earlier. The American Heart Association has a lot of wonderful heart healthy recipes. You don't have to eat bland to eat healthy, that is for sure. There are cooking tips as well on heart.org. So check it out and find something that your family will like. Now we want to watch a fun video. We're going to go into the kitchen at a lovely restaurant. If you have not been there, I recommend trying it out, Bloom. And we're going to head in the kitchen to find out about how to make a heart healthy meal.
Yum.
Hello, welcome to the Heart Ball. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate your incredible support year in and year out. My name is Nate Sloan from Bloom Restaurant and Wine Bar here in the historic neighborhood of Wasino, right off Main Street. And we're going to do a great heart healthy recipe that is one of my favorites throughout the years. And it all starts with our delicious vegetable kale. This kale is from a local farmer of ours, Cam, from Garden Variety Harvest, grows some incredible crops. And it's tender and baby, as you can see. And then we're going to make a nice dressing with Greek yogurt, lemon juice, honey, heart healthy olive oil as well. And then we're going to finish it off with some really great antioxidant and healthy ingredients to kind of bulk and add some sustenance to it. So let's get at it. All right, so with the yogurt dressing, pretty much an a la minute dressing as we like to call it in the industry. We have our house-made Greek yogurt. And you want to make sure you get all that goodness out of there. That's going to provide a lot of great protein and nourishment, as well as a great mouthfeel for the dressing itself. And then local wildflower honey. This actually comes from Shipman, Virginia, Hungry Hill Apiary. All right. And next we have extra virgin olive oil. Gonna mix that in there as well. And last but not least, a little bit of freshly squeezed lemon juice. All right, now you want to take your whisk and lightly emulsify all of those items together. And you won't necessarily need all of this dressing in one sitting, but it keeps well for up to 7 days in your fridge if you ever have any little extra. Okay, now let's see here. Always good to taste your ingredients as you go in case you need to build flavor. It's pretty good. A little tangy, a little sweet from the honey. The acidity of the lemon comes through, and you have that rich protein of the yogurt. All right, on to our kale. So once again, these are tender baby kale. If you couldn't find baby kale in your local store or your farmer's market, you could use traditional green curly or lacinato kale. But with that, of course, you want to make sure you wash it, as well as you want to de-stem it. So as you can see, most of these leaves, are a little tender. So we don't need to really destem these as much, but you will find on occasion that you have some that are a little bit more than chef size, or bite-sized chef is what we like to say. So in that case, do the traditional Italian method of just tearing it a la minute, dropping it right in the bowl. So we'll kind of pick through this and sort it as we go, keeping the beautiful petite leaves intact, of course. Another great recipe that you can always do with kale is, I'm sure you're aware of, is the chips. You can always put them in the oven and dehydrate them. Fantastic little snack, a little bit of sea salt or everything spice is fun too. Oh, yep, here's a big one for sure. All right, so I think this will be enough for myself here. A salad for one. Here we go. Put that off to the side. Then I always like to put a little bit of salt directly on the kale just to kind of start breaking it down a little bit once I start to marinate it. And then we'll take our dressing. Pour a little bit of that on there as well. Okay, now this next step is really important. You really want to work that dressing into the kale. So as we like to say, massage it into the kale to kind of help the kale begin to break down. A lot of folks do this even in advance, and you can rest it for 10 to 12 minutes in your fridge, and it can marinate and truly become tender. Or you can really just kind of work it by hand as well. It's always a couple different options there. And you'll notice as you work it, the kale kind of takes on a little darker hue. It means that the acidity and the oil are really starting to penetrate its cells, starting to break down what could be viewed as tough. All right, so that's pretty well worked for now. Let's start adding our additional healthy ingredients. So, first up, classic carrot, high in beta-carotene and other great vitamins and minerals. We like to spiralize them for some aesthetic fun. Some previously grilled clementines, another great fruit there. A little pop of acidity. The grill kind of really brings out its natural sweetness as well. A little bit of Maillard from the caramelization. I like to tear those once again into bite-sized pieces. All right. Next up on the list, freshly and thinly sliced oranges. So the rind is optional. I prefer a little bitterness myself. So I leave a little bit of the rind on, making sure to wash the fruit, of course. But for those of you that aren't a fan of bitter, I would suggest peeling or at least kind of supreming the orange instead of slicing it thin. Pomegranate seeds, great this time of year, as well as a beautiful color and one more great heart-healthy ingredient that we can use. And then I like to mix a little bit of sunflower or hemp seeds, both great for the heart, into the salad, as well as a little more on top. And we'll save the feta for the top too. And this feta is actually a local creamery. It's goat's milk feta from Curtin's here in Rocky Mount, Virginia. All right, so another little dab of the yogurt dressing just to coat those ingredients really well. And let's start to toss. All right, as you can see, it's very colorful, very lively, has a lot of acidity in it as well, which makes it really nice and bright and enjoyable at different parts of the winter season. Something to kind of lighten your day, what could be a cloudy day outside, or even if you're just feeling another heart-healthy recipe. So, all right. Now, let's grab a bowl. Here we are. Go ahead and construct our salad. Once again, as you can see, the kale is really nice and broken down, a deeper hue, which means that dressing, that vinegar, and that oil, that healthy fat, really penetrated its cells well. All right, who else is getting hungry here? Yeah, about that time. Okay. As you can see, lots of textures, which is really important to me as a chef. Texture is one of my biggest things that I look for in a good meal. Right. And then, of course, our local goat's milk feta. A little bit of salty creaminess right on top. Oh, a little bit extra there. And last but not least, a little more crunch from the sunflower seeds. All right. And there you have it. A nice wintry kale salad with some fresh citrus, some local goat cheese, and of course, last but not least, a nice crack of fresh ground black pepper. Well, thank you all for joining us and for being here tonight. Really means a lot. Salutations and be well.
Oh my goodness, Nate. Nate doesn't just build a salad. He builds a great big salad, which is pretty amazing. Let's see if I can get my video to start here just for fun.
If only,
Hey, there we are.
Robin, the chef could pass that salad through the screen to me right now, he would make me a happy girl.
It would be there's nothing about lunch there. That could be dinner. That could be everything. That could be a late night snack. Maybe if we cut it in half. That was a big salad, but boy, didn't that look great. So that's amazing. And let me I have all kinds of messages on my Zoom screen all of a sudden. So hopefully we're still working. I can't believe, Gene, to be honest with you, that on such a wicked weather night across Virginia, that we're even actually able to talk to each other and all of our great Heart Ball attendees tonight, because wow, power outages all over the state, but we're going strong, and we're going to continue to do that by hopefully taking another look at a pretty good thermometer, which suddenly I can't see it all. So Gene, if you can see the thermometer when it starts to pop up, give me an idea of what you can see there.
I can, Robin. Right now, it says we are at $26,505. So as we are nearing an hour here into this program, a little more than an hour, we need that thermometer to keep going up. So don't forget to text ROA Heartball, ROA Heartball to 41444. And let's hope that thermometer continues going up. What a wonderful event this evening. Robin, I hear you. I was afraid I was going to lose power. I had everything, my laptop, my microphone, everything charged in and power sources going, thinking, what if power goes out at my house and the event is still going on? So I hope everyone is safe tonight. A little news flash, the girl, the Amber Alert that went out, she's been found safe. I just got an alert, so I'm passing that along to all of you. Now let's make more good things happen. Let's get that mercury up to $50,000 tonight. Robin, what do you say?
Let's push it. There's no reason why we can't get there. There's lots of other times that you can stop in and check with the American Heart Association to see how you can help. I don't know if anybody is really thinking about that trip to Fiji. I've been to Fiji once, and that is in the middle of really warm Pacific Ocean. And right about now, whew, that just sounds perfect.
Robin, I'm going to take a little picture of our Zoom to document this. And I just want to say, we're going to end this celebration on a high note. Okay. We are going to end this celebration on a high note. We want to thank all of you for an incredible evening. Look at all these pictures of folks celebrating past Heart Balls. We're getting, look at that, Hotel Roanoke with all those people together. Hopefully that's where we will be next year. But for right now, pour yourself a heart healthy drink, won't you? Kick off those slippers and let's dance the night away, shall we? Turn some music on and remember to post your pictures on social media with the hashtag Roanoke Heart Ball. Robin, let's dance.
All right, Gene. Everybody have a great evening. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Stay warm.
I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. Off from my city, off from my home. We're flying up no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop. And under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel a good, good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, 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 come on. Ooh, it's something magical. It's in the air, it's in my blood, it's rushing on. I don't need no reason, don't need control. I fly so high, no ceiling when I'm in my zone. Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop, stop, stop. Under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel a good, good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. Stop the feeling, yeah. So keep dancing. Oh, yeah. I can't stop the. 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 Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good, good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. Ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. Everybody say. I can't stop the feeling. Feeling in my body. Break it down. Got this feeling in my body. Can't stop the feeling. Got this feeling in my body. Ooh.
You guys did such a great job.
I am so proud of this team.
We are
Y'all
still
are
on
awesome.
air with attendees, friends.
Yo. What?
All right, it is just us.
Thank God.
Okay, should we stop the recording?
Oh my
Michelle
God.
hopping on in her pink sweater saying, hey.